everything on the outside is going to change. And when everything on the outside gets so disrupted, so unplanned, so unexpected, every single one of us is going to have to take a step back and reinvent ourselves. Disruption is the future for every one of us. And if you think because you're on the agency side, or because you're on the media side, or because you are on the brand side, or the supplier side, or the procurement side, you're the police, you are absolutely wrong. Every single thing that is going to happen in this industry is going to affect every single one of us. And you know what's the beautiful about this? What's so fun about this, especially if you're a marketer? It's all being driven by the consumer. Every one of these things is being driven by the consumer. So by definition, this is a marketing problem. I love marketing problems. I can solve marketing problems. I follow the consumer. I can solve the problem. You've got three tremendously transformational things happening with this consumer. The explosion of millennials. Millennials today are the new mainstream. I mean, it is shocking. The new mainstream, 27% of the US. The most multicultural group ever in the history of our time. The most technically advanced, behaviorally the most different of any consumer prior to them. They don't accept the brands their parents use. They don't accept the companies their parents use. They don't accept the behavioral norms, the when to consume, when to get married, when to have kids. Husband, no husband, right? Nothing about them is predictable. Hispanics is a huge population that many, many, many companies for a long time have not even begun to understand. And what's even more difficult about that is that there's so many facets of the Hispanic population that it could take years of study to truly understand how to break into that group. And then you've got this third consumer trend all around strapped consumers. 6 in 10 households make less than $60,000. And although if you're an undergrad coming out of school, that looks really appealing, try feeding a family of 4 on $60,000 a year. Despite the fact that Gwyneth Paltrow thinks she can do it. On food stamps, you gotta really wonder, right? You gotta really wonder. And so you step back and you say, okay, I get it, that's all happening. So why is the consumer so important in this equation? The consumer is so important in this equation because they're so different. They are rapidly moving to mobile and technology. There's an explosion of data as a result of that. And behaviorally, every single thing they're doing is changing. They are changing the profile of our customer landscape. They are changing the profile. Our customers are on their heels. They are completely changing the communications landscape, and I mean overnight. Companies who 2 years ago never even thought about millennials are shocked to find out that 40% of them today are parents. Are you kidding me? It's just shocking. So when you start thinking about the millennials today, you have to say millennials equal multicultural. They are the bullseye for every single thing. Any company today that wants to be relevant, they have to be the bullseye. And they can't be the bullseye in the old Gen Pop definition of the equation. They have to be the bullseye in the new multicultural definition because they are multicultural, they aspire to be multicultural, they enjoy multicultural. It is who they are, whether they are culturally multicultural or not, right? It is who they are. And then you can't ignore the fact that 80% of the growth going forward is going to come from Latinas. That means 80% of the growth in the US is going to come from one population. How can you ignore that, right? Now, the way they shop, they are having a huge impact on our investment decisions. If you are in the brand side of the equation and you are investing money in communications, in promotions, or you're going to the retail landscape and giving money to the customer, all of a sudden, guess what's happening? I said it before, ROIs are declining. So you look at what's happening in the customer landscape. This is a picture. This first part of the slide is really the explosion of options for a millennial and a multicultural consumer. They don't see the shopping landscape like I see it as a cusp boomer or a very, very, very old Gen Xer. Is that right? I'm not Gen Xer. I'm old. I'm gray, but I appreciate those boomers. Okay, so they see all of these retailers as equal, right? When we say, what about club store? What about mass merchant drug? What about supercenters? That's not how they talk. How they talk is, gosh, when I want to shop price, I'm going to be looking at Sam's, Walmart, or Dollar General, because those are the price players in my equation. For any other CPG company, those are 3 different channels that I support, 3 different ways that I tie into promotional activities, 3 different ways, thinking I'm talking to 3 different consumers in those channels. When I want to shop experience, right, I'm either going to go to Target, Whole Foods, or Costco. Those are experiential shopping times for me. And think about your own shopping trips. You carve out more time to go to those stores because you want to look around. You never know if Isaac Mizrahi is going to have something new in the clothing aisle at Target that you just might have to go see. Or if Costco has something that you never knew you wanted, but it's right there, right? So you build up, you got to eat the sample. So you carve out more time. The problem here, though, is it's not just how we separate these retailers. It's consumer shopping trips to these retailers. Across the board, with the exception of military and club, shopping trips are down at these retailers. Across the board, every one of these retailers is down. Shopping trips are down. You know what that means? If I'm spending money in those stores and expecting to get the same level of promotional lift for the dollars I'm getting, I'm not. My lifts are going down. I don't get the same bang for the dollar I put in there. You know what that means? ROIs are going down. You know what that means? I'm not making my number because I thought for $10 I could get this much volume. Now for $10 I'm getting this much volume. Now you want me to go jump and invest against Hispanics? Are you crazy? I'm already not making my number. And this is what's happening. It's not just the retail channel. It is the communication channel also. A #1 show today on network primetime pulls less than 20% of the audience it did 10 years ago, 17%. And it does so with a smaller audience at a higher cost. You know what that means in terms of how much more lift you got to get for that show in order for you to pay back your investment? Look at what happens when consumers are actually watching TV. It's 3, 4, and 5 devices. They're fragmented. They're not paying attention. They are talking while they're listening, while they're engaging, and they might be missing your message. But you're still paying for that valuable time in front of them. What about the path to purchase? When you go to launch a new product, you've got a very clear path to purchase. You're going to get communication out to your consumer. You're going to make a consumer trip over on the way in the store. You're going to give them a coupon. You're going to give them a trial sample. They're going to go buy it. What happens if they never walk in that store? Crap. You mean the money I'm spending there too is diluted? So all of a sudden, when you've got all these CPG players saying, our A&C is not working, our trade spending is not working, it's not as effective. Well, there's a reason for it. The consumer has changed and you have not. And when you don't follow the consumer, you lose every single time.